Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evening, everybody, ladies, gentlemen, and variations thereupon, and welcome to the Radical Race Series, Round 9 at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. It's been a very, very exciting Season 4 in 2025 of the Radical Race Series here on iRacing, and this round promises to be very, very not a whole lot different in that respect, it must be said. So we've got 8 laps, I believe, of all-out action in the races coming your way. Of course, it may only be 8 laps, but it feels a lot longer, and these tiny little radicals trying to make their way around the speedway, the temple of speed that is the Monza race circuit. My name is Edward Hunter. I'm joined in the commentary booth by our broadcast director, Mr. Jim Cunningham. Jim, welcome to Monza, and this is going to be quite a lot of slipstreaming action, I'm sure, that we're in for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's good to be here with you, Ed. We've been a minute or two since we worked together, but yeah, this is I love this series. I love the Radical community in iRacing. It's amazing group of guys, and they all kind of race each other all around in different places and officials and leagues, and it's just a great community. But this particular series, what they've done, bringing the SR8s and the SR10s together and balancing them out in such a manner that they that they can race together against each other is just so cool. And the SR8's a free car on iRacing, so you literally you don't even have to buy a car to participate in something like this. As you can see, they will see, we've got a pretty nice sized grid here. It's just a great series, and I love the fact that these two cars can battle each other in a fair environment.
Indeed. So there's a fair bit of balancing between the two cars in terms of the SR10s having a bit more weight than the SR8s, and it changing across different circuits across the season.
Give me a second here, because I get 500,000 messages a week.
Fair enough.
Paul LeMay sends me every week what they've done to these cars. I just got to find his message real quick. Here we go. So this week they have reduced the power of the SR10 by 5%, and they've added 50 kilograms to the SR8. And he said that that Simon, Mike Buson, and himself have tested it rigorously, and they said it's going to be some of the closest racing of the season. Simon came up with these balance of powers, and he said give him a shout out because he did a phenomenal job. And so, yeah, he said his exact words were, he goes, this has all the ingredients to be a cracker. So
I like, instead of balance of performance, we're calling it balance of power now.
Well, it's performance, like
World Endurance Championship.
Well, it is what it is. But yeah, so I mean, it's the fact that they work really hard to balance these cars out is cool.
Yeah, qualifying, as you can see, in session at the moment. Current fastest lap time is car number 7, which is Sauli Raitanen, who is a set of 144.089. That may well be improved upon as the session goes on. Top 5 positions all held by SR10s. Fastest of the SR8 so far is Mike Buson, who we were just talking about, 145.1, just a second off the paces. Luke Crowley in an SR10 immediately jumps him there. So yeah, still a few drivers yet to put times on the board. Might be a good opportunity to look at the standings now, as qualifying has still got a couple of minutes left to go, as Mike Buson sets, I think, a purple mini sector. Yeah, there seem to be 5 little mini sectors there, and Mike Buson in the penultimate one has gone the fastest, but Raitanen is also improving his time. Simon Edwards now sets the fastest time, 143.813. As there you go. Also the case in the overall standings, as you can see, 7 races of the 8 so far counted for Simon Edwards. Puts him on 415 points with the 1 dropped round And then we got Bruno Vitorino in second, 16 points behind him. Sauli Raitanen is another 14 points or so behind. And then in the first RSR8s in fourth position is Jamie Bird, followed by Colin Wynn on 346 points. 3 points behind him is Stefan Mellis. Kim-Andre Bjorklund is seventh, having just jumped up to that position in the previous round a week ago, ahead of Graham Matthew. Heinz Braun is also up to ninth in his SR10, with Phil Glover falling down to 10th. Paul LeMay is up to 11th. He's been a big gainer last couple of weeks. Remember, brilliant performance at, I think it was Mid-Ohio 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And then Luke, where you took pole position. Luke Crowley up to 12th as well. But Mike Bousson, the big loser, I think may have missed the previous round. So he has fallen to 13th. Behind him, we have got George Gonzaga, Robert Woodward, David Rolliston, Federico Casasa, Paul G. Crabb, Lucas Nilsson, Josh Reed, Ewan Stitchbury, and Steve Webb, your 22 who have taken part in the season so far. And of course, we have our SR10 and our SR8 classes. As you can see, Simon Edwards there, still leading Vitorino by 16 points with Sauli Raitanen third. Kim-Andre Bjorklund is up to fourth in the SR10 standings with Heinz Braun fifth. Phil Glover down to sixth. Luke Crowley seventh. George Gonzaga 8th, Federico Casasa 9th, and Lucas Nilsson rounding out your 10 SR10s. And then our SR8s, all 12 of them, we've got Jeremy Bird leading the way on 375 points, with Colin Wynn in second on 346. Wynn has been slowly catching up to Jamie Bird in some of the more recent rounds as well. Stefan Mellis is third. Graham Matthew is fourth. Paul LeMay up to fifth. As we said, he's been the big gainer lately. Look at his dropped round as well. 15 points that he can fall back on. Mike Bousson is sixth. Robert Woodward is seventh. David Rolliston at eighth. Paul Crabb is ninth. Josh Reed 10th. Ewan Stitchbury 11th. And Steve Webb rounds out your Radical SR8s in the standings then. So we've got 3 minutes left in qualifying. Gonzaga, by the way, we're just talking about, goes up to P4 then. But Paul LeMay is the fastest of the SR8s. Only 600ths of a second, I think, off of pole position, currently held by Simon Edwards, 143.706 then. So as Paul LeMay himself was predicting, very, very close between the two different car types. And it's the two that have been doing all the testing, doing the most of the practicing around here at Monza, that have gained the most time out of it in qualifying.
If you look here from first place down to 12th place is just slightly over a second difference, which that's incredible if you really think about it. And
by SR8 standards, you can see 1:40, 1:40. It's one of the longer circuits essentially. So, yeah, it is quite impressive. I mean, not quite as long as something like Spa, for example, but because compared to say a Formula One or a World Endurance Hypercar, for example, these cars aren't that fast in a straight line essentially by comparison, but they are pretty nippy in the corners.
Well,
so
I mean, the SR10s will run upwards of 160. I guess my thing's probably set up to miles per hour. So yeah, probably 160 miles per hour, which is not. They're not slow. They're not slow. No. They're actually they're great transition car. Like if you're moving up from the early stuff, like the GR86s and the Miatas and the Formula Fords and things like that, and you're starting to want to progress into sports cars or potentially even some open wheelers. I think that the Radicals are a great place to transition through. They don't have ABS. They don't have traction control. The SR10 is a great car to learn some throttle control in because it's got enough power that it'll get away from you. Looks like we're just finished up qualifying there.
Yeah, and it ends with Edwards and LeMay on the front row together then. So that is fascinating ahead of our sprint race that's coming up in just a few short moments' time. But time enough then to go through the grid order. Simon Edwards, Paul LeMay on the front row. SR10 leads SR8. Then we've got Sauli Raitanen and Heinz Braun on row 2. Kim-Andre Bjorklund and George Gonzaga on row 3. Jamie Bird lines up on row 4 alongside Luke Crowley. Bruno Vitorino, second in the championship, but down in 9th with Colin Wynn rounding out the top 10. Robert Woodward and Mike Buson make up row 6. Then on row 7, it is Stefan Mellis and Steve Webb. Row 8, Lars-Erik Frydenlund in one of his first appearances of this season with David Ross alongside him. Finally, back row of the grid is Graham Matthew and Phil Glover for Positivity Racing. And Phil Glover always brings the positivity as we're about to get going any second now.
Yeah, we still got a few guys to populate the grid. Still got a couple
I
guys.
always like to be early rather than late.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it happens. I can't tell you how many times we're reading the grid and the cars take off. So, yes.
Admittedly, an issue with bigger grids than this, but still, 18 by radical standards is pretty decent.
It really is, right? I mean, that's what I was thinking too, man. We got 18 cars on the grid. That's a great turnout.
So here we are then, 17 minutes of racing, or 16 about to elapse now, and off the line, a great getaway for Simon Edwards and Paul LeMay. Bogs down a little bit. You can see him in the blue, red, and white car trying to hold the inside as Sorley Reitinen is trying to go through the middle into the first chicane. The red Via, a bit of contact near the back. I think Robert Woodward is in a little bit of issue there. Jamie Bird fighting with Kim-Andre Bjorklund there, but you can see there Edwards has cut the chicane and Paul LeMay has taken the lead. And here comes Reitinen then trying to spread the pain. So a crucial mistake in the early stages of the sprint race for Simon Edwards, and this could prove costly then. Reitinen positioning himself to the outside, but he's not far enough alongside to do a banzai move into the second chicane at Della Roggia then. So Paul LeMay leads Edwards, Reitinen, Braun, Bjorklund, Bird, Gonzaga, Wynn, Crowley, and Vittorino. There's Jamie. Bjorklund is in the gravel at Lesmo 1, so that's gone horribly wrong while fighting Jamie Bird, and Bjorklund will fall right to the back of the field as a consequence.
Yeah, that's a common mistake there, but boy, he really got out there in the gravel.
Yeah, I wonder if there was contact with Jamie Bird, but never mind that. Look at this. Our top four starting to break away from Jamie as Gonzaga goes up the inside into Ascari, but Jamie Bird cuts him off in the black JPB SR8 there. And now you can see Edwards really on the defensive here from Reitinen here. Paul LeMay is looking in a really strong position, but he is having to weave because the SR10s are getting so much in the slipstream. Right behind him, here's Reitinen. He has gone past Simon Edwards up the inside into the final corner, the Parabolica, as they complete lap 1. 7 more to go here at Monza then, and LeMay is going to have to fight tooth and nail to hold on to this lead against the in theory more powerful SR10s behind him. And here comes Reitinen. They're snaking down the straight. Our top 4, Braun at the back of this. Reitinen is going to go around the outside and into the lead, and is Simon Edwards going to follow? Braun nearly goes through the middle and makes contact late on the brakes again for Paul LeMay into the first chicane. Tyre smoke going everywhere, and he's somehow gained almost a whole second in all of that.
Yeah, Simon is back to 4th place.
Collision in the background. It's Mellis and Crowley.
Oh, yeah, big crash back there. Buson's involved.
I think they've both just gone straight on there. So lots of last of the late breakers there. Paul LeMay led by example. And you can see now our second place battle has fallen into the clutches of Gonzaga and Bird again.
Yes, indeed. Let's just take a quick look at that and see if we got here. There's my famous slow motion replay.
Okay. So is that Crowley leading Mellis? And then, he gets hit from behind.
Luke Crowley just blasted Mellis from behind there. Holy cow.
Poor Stefan Mellis. Mellis has not had a whole lot of luck. Mike Buson, by the way, dropping positions. He was right up there with Bird and Wynn in the battle for second of the SR8s, and he's out of the race now as Mike Buson.
Oh, my gosh.
Watching that replay. Look at him going for Ascari and just about staying on track. I love that exit there.
I know, right?
Because there's always that temptation to track extend. And look at this. Now Braun is past Simon Edwards. And Edwards has been fallen back to 4th position. We're not used to seeing this from our championship leader there. And Gonzaga now is looking very, very threatening. As we see in the further down the field, Bjorklund is starting to regain positions. He's just picked off Phil Glover for P12. As now Braun is lining up Reitinen for P2. And all of this dueling around is really playing into the hands of Paul LeMay here while these SR10s fight each other for P2. Braun onto the outside, and he slipstreams his way, slingshots through past Reitinen, who tries to hold the inside for the red Fido, and he taps him round, and Edwards just about avoids him in time, and so too does Jamie Bird. But yeah, Braun, I think, will feel a bit hard done by there as Reitinen absolutely spun him around.
Yeah, we'll look at that in just a second. Also, I want to go back real quick and see what happened to Busan, because he just dropped completely out of the race. So that's...
Here he is then. So Mike is sort of mid-pack here, going through Lesmo 2, pulls to the inside. That, to me, looks like some sort of hardware issue.
Oh, yeah, I think so. That definitely looks like, yeah, there's something else there. Okay. All right, so that's that.
Oh, and Reitman's in the wall. Della Roggia, and the front bumper is hanging by a thread there. So while we've been away in that short time, Reitman has absolutely binned it or been sent into the wall
no,
on the exit of Della Roggia.
I think he, let's see. Looks like he
race over for Reitman either way there.
Might have got off track himself here with the...
So he's back.
Yeah.
So
there it is.
There we go.
Yep.
Very strange. He lost it quite late in the corner. Simon Edwards lucky to get back up to P2 as a result of all of that. So we had Reitman spinning around Heinz Braun and then Reitman crashing out himself. So that's 2-3 positions for Simon Edwards then. But he's still got George Gonzaga all over the back of him. And Paul LeMay, nearly 3 seconds to the good then, is absolutely running away with this one.
He's stretching it right out there, taking advantage of all of this stuff happening behind him. This is Colin Wynn closing in on Bruno Vitorino. Vitorino's been coming on strong in the last few races as well, man. He's had some really quality runs.
Yeah, especially in some of the sprint races. He's really gotten a big jump on Simon Edwards here. And he's got to hope that Edwards' pace continues to evaporate like we saw with the other SR10s. But look at this. Win is giving Vitorino a lot of trouble in that SR8. Goes to the outside at Curva Grande there. And Bruno Vitorino, finally, the SR10 grunt finally kicks in as they go under the bridge. And he is ahead, holding on to that 5th position there. So Vitorino's got to hope he can keep Win behind long enough for them to catch up to Jeremy Bird and become a part of that 4th place battle essentially ahead of them. So yeah, Vitorino, the Brazilian, as he's been very, very consistent across the season. That's why he's P2 in the standings. But he needs to take advantage of every opportunity he can to beat Simon Edwards here. And Edwards, of course, because he's not really close now to be getting the slipstream of Paul LeMay, he's creating a big hole in the air that Gonzaga, Bird, and hopefully for Vitorino's sake himself, can take advantage of.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about Bjorklund at all so far tonight, really.
I mentioned him once or twice.
But he's starting to find his speed in these cars as well. I think there was maybe a small adjustment period, but I mean he's apparently been doing these for a while. But I've been watching him do Porsche Cup racing and stuff recently, doing a lot of that kind of racing now.
Yeah, Heinz Braun also passes Phil Glover for 10th in the background. But you can see here Bjorklund, after he's off on the first lap into Lesmo 1, he's decided to shake off all the gravel and get a move on here, which is exactly what the Norwegian needs to do. So he's picked off his countryman Lars-Erik Frydenlund, and now he picks off Rolliston in the Tiger Stripe SR8 to get up to P7 then. Only a second now in between him and the Colin Wynn Bruno Vitorino battle. And again, Vitorino can't quite escape, although a mistake there for Wynn, who just taps the gravel on the exit of Redavilio there, and that could allow Bjorklund to capitalize here.
Yeah, that's obviously one of that chicane is one of the toughest turns on this track. I tell you what, I raced here yesterday, and it just I had so many fits there in that first chicane.
Well, Redavilio is very hard because it tightens up considerably on entry, and even on exit, it's quite deceptive. You always want to get on the power a lot earlier than you're actually able to, and you find your car can often understeer on exit, especially in the rain. Redavilio is a bit of a nightmare corner, but it does produce a fair bit of drama and action, and not just in sim racing, but in real life as well. Rolliston now he's at the back of this train. He will be getting a sort of 3 cars directly in front of him, giving him slipstream here, which does somewhat compensate for some of the weaknesses of the SR8 relative to the SR10. On top of the BOP you mentioned earlier that has flattened out slightly. Simon Edwards, by the way, set fastest lap, 143.6, 2 tenths quicker than Paul LeMay that previous lap. So he's not given up, and he's started to pull away from Gonzaga, as you could see there. Colin Wynn was all over the back of Vitorino as they went into Parabolica.
Yep, that's been a good battle now. That's been going on for, look at Bjorklund swinging it out
wide
there.
Yeah, exactly. Can't afford to do that too many times because of Rolliston. The Tiger is waiting to pounce in the background, isn't it? As here comes Colin Wynn, looking for that fifth position. Doesn't want to pull out too early and lose the slipstream. But here comes Bjorklund. Bjorklund is going to pick him off up the inside there. Colin Wynn left the door open. And there needs to be careful here that all four cars can make it through without clattering into each other. And Bjorklund was left just enough room by Colin Wynn. So both the SR10s have made it through past the SR8s then, and now Bjorklund is lining up Vitorino. It's going to be two moves in three corners here, as you can see. Bird and Gonzaga fighting in the foreground, but in the background, up the inside goes Bjorklund. Fantastic set of moves there to pick off Vitorino. That's not what the Brazilian would have wanted to see, and Bjorklund has gone from, I think, 16th at the end of the first lap up to 5th.
He's flying, man.
The unfortunate thing is he's exactly where he qualified then. So,
but still, though, I mean, he's flying up through these cars. He just passed two really good drivers and fast.
Yeah, only a tenth slower than Simon Edwards, despite having to make those moves as Jamie Bird to the outside of Gonzaga. Just enough room left through Ascari there. You have to be a brave man to go around the outside in that corner, and brave indeed is Jamie Bird's middle name, as Colin Wynn is falling down the order down to 10th. So Wynn has made an error in that close battle with Rolliston and Vitorino.
He did there.
Oh, and he's lost a wheel.
Oh.
He's lost the front left wheel.
Oh, yeah. No,
something's gone wrong at the front of that car. Oh, it's the front bumper that's gone. There's been a heavy impact just before Ascari, I think.
Yeah, there has been. Let's see what happened here.
We go three big hitters hitting trouble then. Wynn, Reitinen, and Buson. So there you can see Rolliston behind, and Vitorino ahead. He taps the back of Vitorino, and then he's just sent into the wall on the inside and just avoided by Heinz Braun and Lars-Erik Freidenlund.
That was actually pretty impressive that they avoided him, because he kind of rolled right back out in the middle of the track. Paul had a bit of an off-track moment there. I don't think it was anything major, but it was enough to let Simon pick up about a half to 3/4 of a second on him there on that last lap.
Yeah, 6/10 gained by Simon Edwards then, so the gap down to 1.4 seconds. But there's only one more lap to go. Paul and May will be very, very aware of that, but the pressure starting to build here. Edwards wants to take yet another win, and second place will not satisfy him in the slightest. He has truly broken away from George Gonzaga then, who's really had his hands absolutely full of Jamie Bird, but he has actually gotten back past Jamie Bird, I think, down the main straight into Red Ophelia. He's retaken that third position then. And then we got Bjorklund, Vitorino, Rolliston, Braun, Freidenlund, and Woodward, I think, rounding out the top 10 just ahead of Phil Glover, who he's passed recently. Rolliston actually now the biggest gainer from where he qualified in this race, having gained 9 positions. Although Bjorklund going from 16th to 5th is probably as impressive, if not more so.
This is the curve. Is that the curve? That's Curva Grande right there.
That's Parabolica.
Parabolica.
He's just
Parabolica.
Yeah, Curva Grande's coming up later.
I think Parabolica might be my least favorite turn in all of racing. I just do not like that curve at all. I was frustrated by it yesterday, as you can tell. It's on my mind. Parabolica's brutal.
It does have that reputation, doesn't it?
I can't get through there fast. I mean, it's I either spin or I'm too slow.
Yeah, exactly. I always find with Parabolica, it's one of those corners that can really suck you in if you're not careful. As we see Steve Webb in a battle. I think that's Crowley who's just gotten past him. There we go. And I think Graham Matthew in the back in the McLaren as well. The Scotsman trying to keep both of them in sight here. So, definitely a battle of those who have sort of avoided trouble and stayed out of the pit lane. This is the battle of those at the tail end, essentially, of the field. Although Luke Crowley did have that crash with Mellis earlier, now we see Jamie Bird has zoomed right back onto the back of the Portuguese driver of Gonzaga here as they go on the run. They're going to pass under the banking here, the big bridge that they're about to go underneath now. And I think Jamie Bird is just that little bit too far back to go all the way around the outside, but he's done it before. He's late on the brakes into Ascari. He gets it stopped in time, and he takes that third position. He's just got to hold on now. Down the back straight into the Parabolica Alvarado and down the main straight, but Paul LeMay is a good few seconds up the road here. They've lapped Stefan Mellis. Gonzaga's slipstream his way back past Jamie Bird into third, by the way. But here comes Paul LeMay. The battle is still going on, but Paul LeMay, he is going to take the sprint race, and well-deserved too from the front row of the grid to beat Simon Edwards in a close battle. As Edwards, a tough start, really put him on the back foot. Here comes battle to the line between Bird and Gonzaga, and it's Bird that holds on to third there. Impressive drive. It's SR8's first and third then. And Kim-Andre Bjorklund is going to lead home Vitorino in fifth position. As there you see Heinz Braun. He will really rue being spun out by Reitman there, because he was running in P2 when that happened. He could have been on the podium today.
Yeah, he could have. That was very unfortunate.
Well, still one more race to go, and it will be reverse top 10, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that's correct.
As we see Stefan Mellis still finishing the race in the baby blue, turquoise bounty hunter livery, I think it says on the car. I think he was the one being hunted here by Luke Crowley. And he's going to collect that bounty at the end of this.
Yeah, that was unfortunate too. I mean, he definitely got kind of blasted on that one. Not normally Luke's style, Luke is he's a clean driver. I got to figure there was something there. Either Mellis slowed way early or something. You know what I mean? Like something weird must have happened there.
Yeah, I think this is typical Stefan Mellis' horrendous bad luck that kicked in. It seems to happen to him pretty much every race.
He does have the worst bad luck ever, doesn't he? All right, let's take a look at the results there real quick.
But a man who is shaken off his bad luck is Paul LeMay, who beats Simon Edwards by just over a second as they cross line to complete the sprint race. Jamie Bird, in a very, very close battle with Jorge Gonzaga, pulls a move around the outside of Scurry twice to hold on to third position very, very narrowly by just a tenth of a second. Then it is Kim-Andre Bjorklund, falls to 16th on the opening lap as we trip through the gravel, but does recover up to 5th in all the chaos of the sprint. Bruno Vitorino, 6th. David Rolliston, 3rd of the SR8s, is 7th in the Tiger livery. Heinz Braun recovers up to 8th after being spun around. Then it is Lars Erik Freidenlund in 9th, and Robert Woodward rounding out the top 10. Further back, we've got Phil Glover, who finishes 11th ahead of Luke Crowley. Steve Webb is 13th ahead of Graham Matthew. Then, much further back, Stefan Mellis, nearly a lap down in 15th position, pardon me. Colin Wynn is a lap down after that crash with Vitorino. He finishes 16th. Then Sauli Reitman sadly retired from the race with a mysterious crash at Della Roggia, where he lost it on exit, with Mike Bousson as well having a hardware problem on the exit of Lesmo 2, meaning he had to call it a day very, very early. So that is all of the finishes of the sprint race, but it should be then who's going to be in pole for the sprint race. Was it Freidenlund who was 10th? I forget now.
Well, that's how it goes sometimes. Let's see. We'll pull it back up here. If it is 10, it's going to be
Robert
Woodward. Our buddy Phil Glover just missed the pole there. If it's 10. Let's pull Phil in for a second. Chat with him. What the heck? Sure. Yeah, let's pull him in. Give him a hard time.
All right. I will drag him in unannounced, unwarned, unplanned.
He's good.
So we're joined now by Phil Glover at the end of the sprint race. Phil, are you there? You are live on the broadcast. Welcome, buddy.
Yeah.
That was an interesting one. You just missed out on the mythical P10 that would have given you reverse grid pole. So I imagine annoyance with Robert Woodward there, but still one more race to go. Should be exciting.
Yeah, should. I'm really looking forward to it. I've done zero practice this week, so.
Oh, we're gridding up here, Phil. I thought we had more time, buddy. We'll holler at you after the race.
Yeah, no worries. Speak to you soon.
All right, buddy.
All right, as we move Phil Glover back to the interview room, it's Robert Woodward on pole position, reverse grid pole with Lars Erik Freidenlund alongside him. Heinz Braun, row 2. David Rolliston, row 4. Bruno Vitorino fourth position, sorry. Row 3, Bruno Ridovino and Kim Andre Bjorklund. Row 5, Jorge Gonzaga and James Bird. Row 5, Simon Edwards, Paul LeMay, and then it's Phil Glover in 11th. As we get going then, and it is Woodward leading them away into turn 1 as Braun has gotten past up to P2 as bumpers flying everywhere in the background. A couple of people have not just missed their braking point, they've absolutely clobbered the car in front as Jamie Bird losing a few positions into the first corner as Braun and Bjorklund go side by side. Bjorklund is up 3 positions into third, but Woodward, a pole setter, has fallen to 4th, and now he's got Gonzaga threatening to attack him here. But Vitorino, though, has made a clean break then from 6th position, 6th and 7th position on the grid then, ahead of Bjorklund into Del Roger. Bjorklund gets a bump from Heinz Braun, eager to get on the podium here with his Heinz Harald Frentzen helmet there. So your top 10 is Vitorino, Bjorklund, Braun, Woodward, Gonzaga, Bird, LeMay from 10th up to 7th already, Simon Edwards 8th, Eric Friedland 9th, Stefan Mellis rounding out the top 10 as Braun and Woodward go side by side, and you can see Woodward dropping down the order as Jamie Bird now is picking him off, as too has Paul LeMay, and you can see now Bird having to tuck him behind because he and Woodward both in the SR8. Gonzaga side by side with Braun, and Gonzaga going up the inside into 3rd position then, so a chaotic first lap, not really sure where to look, but Vitorino and Bjorklund have absolutely flown away from the pack. 1.4 seconds ahead of Gonzaga here, who's now being slipstreamed by Braun, who is eager to get revenge. You can see the pack in this huge fight for second place, shifting positions every few meters, it feels like, as we get to the end of the first lap, and Edwards now picks off Woodward for P7, following Jamie Bird and Paul LeMay.
Yeah, this is it's definitely an action-packed first lap, but of course you got to really make your moves when you can. Venturino, Bjorklund's making a run on him here, going down into the first chicane here.
There we go, and he's pulled it off then. Bjorklund into the lead, past Vitorino, and Gonzaga going up the inside of Braun, nearly dragging Paul LeMay with him as well. And yeah, Heinz Braun is really sort of picky in the middle here, isn't he? He keeps getting slipstreamed past by other cars, and it's a SR10 top 4 at the moment here. Can Paul LeMay do anything to change that? Jamie Bird is not far behind either. We see Stefan Mellis fighting his way up to P9. He's gained 6 positions here, the joint highest gainer of the race so far, as he picks off Lars-Erik Frydenlund, but makes a little mistake, just saves it through Del Rogia there. Yellow flag next to Braun's name, so he's clearly had a little bit of a warning for track limits somewhere, I believe. Unless that's an error on the timing screen there. But look at Crowley just about rejoining the circuit there through Lesmo number 1 there. Mellis is just leading a big train here in the battle for P9. But Vitorino is still all over the back of Bjorklund for the lead as Edward picks off Jamie Bird for P6 there.
Yeah, this is this battle up here is still going strong.
Yeah, Bjorklund having tipped it out of the gravel. Loads of position changes in the background. Paul LeMay and Simon Edwards
Crowley too
losing positions. Heinz Braun now falls to 12th then. So Braun has been involved in a huge incident. I think everybody scrabbled to avoid him then. So that's allowed Jamie Bird and Robert Woodward back into 4th and 5th then. And Edwards has lost about 4 seconds in all of that. So too is Paul LeMay.
Yeah, this is, I'm trying to sort out here exactly what happened, and then we can go back and take a look at it. There's so many battles going on.
Vitorino right behind Bjorklund on the way into turn 1. As you can see, Edwards and Bird slipstreaming the way back past Robert Woodward here, and then going side by side. It's Edwards that's got the inside here. Woodward still trying to challenge Jamie Bird. Thinks better at that one. And you can see there Gonzaga now, as it was the case in race 1, has pretty much on his lonesome in third, although he's got Jamie Bird significant further back on this occasion then, as I think we're about to see a replay of what happened here. So Braun is the one we expect to hit difficulties here. Yeah, you can see this is the back of the train with Crowley right behind, who's that in front of him? Is it Buson?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out. There was a long list of
Jamie
incidents.
Bird has lost a load of positions now. He's fallen to P7 while we've been watching this.
All right. This is not what we need to see. I guess we need
around the outside goes Mellis. Mellis in the gravel, and there goes Crowley spinning around. But they were both sort of near the back of the top 10 anyway, so it's not, with all due respect, a huge loss But yeah, we go. Luke Crowley reverses it and gets going again. I'm sure it would be a loss to Luke Crowley, but certainly in the scheme of things. Oh, up the inside goes Jeremy Bird. Is this a replay of what happened to him?
Yeah.
So there we go. Trying to retake the position from Edwards has backfired spectacularly there. He actually loses 3 positions, and LeMay is up the inside him as well.
Oh, Jamie's not done yet. There he goes. Paul has no nose back there.
And LeMay, it very much looked like from that angle that LeMay knocked into Jamie Bird, and then Jamie Bird lost control and went into the gravel. So I think you might feel LeMay pushed him out of the way for that 6th position there. So Sorley Reitinen has gone from near the very back of the field after retiring in race 1 up to 5th because of all the chaos. They cannot leave each other alone.
Up 12 spots. He's flying. Vitorino and Bjorklund. Vitorino took back over the lead from Bjorklund.
He did, yeah. We just saw that before we went to a raft of replays there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
and Gonzaga has been lapping. Bjorklund's in the 147.0s. He's had a terrible lap last time around.
He did.
Vitorino's in the 144.8s then. So one of the quickest, if not the quickest driver on track, I believe. And Gonzaga in the 145.2s. He is going pretty rapidly as well. Simon Edwards another 3 seconds behind. So Gonzaga knows he needs to pick up Bjorklund quickly here because Edwards could be there to capitalize. Buson, by the way, passes Lars-Erik Frydenlund for P7. Buson has been another big gainer in this race, and look at that. Paul LeMay with no front wing of his car essentially could be vulnerable here as you see Lars-Erik Frydenlund and Phil Glover giving him a hard time. Glover into the top 10 up the inside. That's inspired by Phil Glover into Lesmo 2 to pick off Frydenlund for 9th position. Oh no, that's 9th position to Phil Glover then.
Yeah, this battle right here, Gonzaga is all over Bjorklund now. Whatever happened to Bjorklund that caused him to have that slow lap, it seems to have set in. We'll see if he's going to improve on this one.
Well, he's lost the toe from Vitorino now because he's that far back. 2 seconds at least. Oh! And is that Mellis in the gravel at Ascari in the background? I saw a big flash of turquoise there as he rejoining in the background. But yeah, Mellis had a huge moment there. So the Mellis misfortunes continue, unfortunately, for the Belgian. As here comes Gonzaga. You can see Edwards leading the train. He's been able to hold off Reitinen for the time being, but Reitinen sets the fastest lap of the race. And up the inside goes Gonzaga for P2. So George Gonzaga gets into the runners-up spot in the black and yellow Bumblebee livery machine there. The Portuguese, it's 2 Portuguese-speaking drivers filling the top 2 positions now. So Gonzaga has got to hope he can chase after Vitorino now and steal the win.
Somebody's around in the background. Who was that?
No, dear.
That was Braun.
I think it was Heinz Braun.
It was Braun,
That's exactly where he ended up being spun around in race 1 as well. So Heinz Braun has got to wonder what he has to do to get a decent result here at Monza there, as Gonzaga now fending off Bjorklund. But you can see Reitinen has got back past Simon Edwards, and now the gap's closed to only 2 seconds. So while Gonzaga and Bjorklund only briefly battled, Reitinen and Edwards are lapping about a second lap quicker than Bjorklund at the moment, and Gonzaga too for that matter.
I don't know if this is just coincidence or not, but the cars seemed fairly balanced in the first race. But if you look down at the leaderboard, the top 5 cars are all 10s, and then there's a couple of 8s.
All of the SR8s have hit trouble, interestingly enough. Because we didn't quite see what happened to Burt, but I think... Oh, no, we did. He got put in the gravel, didn't he?
Yeah,
so, there was the hit with Paul LeMay.
Yeah, body check.
So, Woodward was on pole, so he's really the only one that sort of stayed out of trouble. Buson, about 2 seconds behind him. And then we got Paul LeMay. So, our top 3 SR8s in 6th, 7th, and 8th fairly close together, as there is Edwards trying to line up Reitinen. Bjorklund hasn't given up on Gonzaga, still about 2/10 behind him then, but here Edwards is going to have a brilliant opportunity to get back into 4th place here, and he certainly needs to, with Vitorino leading this race. There we go, the 2 moves in synchronicity with one another. Bjorklund to the outside of Gonzaga, Edwards to the inside of Reitinen, and Phil Glover is now past Paul LeMay then. So yeah, LeMay must be very, very heavily damaged then from that early lap melee that we saw. And Phil Glover taking full advantage there to get him to 8th position. Not often we see Phil Glover quite that high up then. Next target for him is Mike Buson.
Come on now. Give him Phil
I'd say it's a good performance.
No,
to be fair, he's very consistent. Usually he reliably he can be found not far off the top 10 or even in the top 10.
Yes.
Often he's the beneficiary of the reverse grid. So he's really had to start from a lot further back.
No!
And he gets hit by Paul LeMay. LeMay tangles with another driver.
Did they hit?
And this
I
time
mean,
it
they
is.
definitely hit, but I mean, was it who's? Let me see.
Yeah, difficult to really judge that one. Glover gets going again. LeMay has come to a dead start. I think he's waiting for Phil. Phil is sort of trying to get his bearings, I think, and then get going again.
Well,
but yeah, LeMay could be given the meatball flag. Over the cap. It's a right and start mistake there.
Yeah, he got off in the gravel and then took Paul out. Yeah. So it wasn't actually on LeMay. It was actually Phil that got into him there.
Misjudgment.
You
from
said
Glover
Phil's getting his bearings. That's probably true. He's in that. He drives a VR and a motion rig. He had a little spin. Probably. We gave him.
He looked very dazed. He looked very, very dazed, and especially because LeMay was waiting for him. I think LeMay may be about to call it quits from this one because the meatball flag next to his car is badly damaged. After winning the sprint race, it could not really gone much worse here. But here comes Gonzaga trying to retake that second position. So from second downwards, it's been a fantastic by Wright and Edwards as well. It's almost like they're copying the pair in front of them. But as they do this, they're getting closer and closer. A tenth quicker that last lap was Gonzaga compared to Vitorino. And Bjorklund was 4 tenths quicker than Vitorino.
Well,
so
they're all
the lead battle isn't over yet.
They're all towing each other around the track. You know, Vitorino's out there just running by himself, you know. Whereas, you know, Gonzaga and Bjorklund and then Edwards and Wrighton are pulling each other around the track. They're kind of doing that old, I forget what you call it now, when those Indy cars do that thing where they swap every lap to pull each other around.
Oh my God, Paul LeMay is still there on the exit of Della Roccia. Maybe he wants to spectate like us.
Maybe. I hope that he didn't hurt his arm. He has a, you know, he's kind of known for some neck injury thing. And, you know, hope the force feedback or something didn't catch him funny or something.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's going to be ruining that incident with Phil Glover then, because that really ruined all chances there. He's gone back to the pits now, so I think LeMay is out of the race then. So, yeah, first place in the sprint race, but unfortunately first retirement in the feature then. As, this is concerning for Vitorino. Gonzaga continuing to catch. What do you do if you are a Vitorino in this situation then, with Gonzaga, Bjorklund, Wrighton and Edwards all in a sort of pact of convenience as they draft each other? It's one of those sort of Peloton style races, isn't it, that it's turning into from second onwards, where they'll taking turns to lead essentially without holding each other up.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do other than just drive the wheels off of it.
That looked more defensive from Sorley Wrighton there, as Edwards now goes up the inside, Bjorklund up the inside of Gonzaga. And how much longer is this truce going to last here as we are halfway through the race now, lap 8 of 14? Surely Gonzaga and Bjorklund are going to get fed up with each other if they are not catching Vitorino quickly enough, or if indeed they do catch him, they're going to be very keen to be first in the queue.
True, yes. But as far as at this point, I think that what they're doing is, you know, they're probably the right thing to try to catch him. There's no need in battling too hard.
Vitorino, I think, dipped into the gravel there at Della Roccia as well, so he is pushing hard. I tell you who's played this smartest of all of them, I think Robert Woodward, he's going to take basically an SR8 class victory the way things are going, because he's kept relatively close to the back of the 5 SR10s in front of him, and that's allowed him to pull a good 3.5 seconds clear of Mike Bousson, who, with all due respect, Woodward did drive a very, very good race one, but you would sort of expect Bousson to be the quicker driver based on what we saw in that first race. Him and Jamie Bird, who was damaged, of course, with the contact with, or he certainly had a big setback as Jamie Bird after being clobbered into the gravel, it must be said. But now, more moves about to... Colorful expressions. Funny. What can I say?
That was funny. I enjoyed that. Clobbered in.
It's only to entertain you, Jim.
Thank you. Well, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to be entertained, you know?
Yep. Well, entertainment about to follow then. It does look like Woodward made a bit of a mistake in the first sector there, so he has fallen over a second off the back of Wrighton and Edwards then. So the top 5 consoling could see Bousson just in the distance. Edwards sets the fastest lap of the race, and here comes Gonzaga thinking about a move on Bjorklund, but this time not close enough. The gap between Bjorklund and Vitorino in the lead, just 1 second now. So if the gap continues to close, is it closing quickly enough? I think Bjorklund was 9/10 quicker than Vitorino that previous lap. Now he will start to get a tow from the race leaders. There is Jamie Bird in a battle with Lars-Erik Frydenlund, and Jamie will be frustrated to be this far down. Every SR8 he can pick off puts him in a better position in the lead of that SR8 standings.
It does, yeah. And of course, he's frustrated because what happened to him again? I forgot what you said now.
He got clobbered by Paul LeMay. Up the inside goes Jamie Bird past Lars-Erik Frydenlund, and he got it stopped just in time there. Yeah. It's difficult to pull off a late braking maneuver and stick to the racing line there.
Jamie is killing these curves tonight. And that, you know, because we've seen him make several passes where he's basically hopping the curves.
Oh, and look at this. Edwards going up to P3. So Gonzaga has, far from challenging for the lead, he's dropped off the back of Bjorklund. And that's allowed Edwards to second the fastest lap of the race. Him and Bjorklund matching each other. Simon Edwards only a couple of hundredths faster. And here comes Reitner now, trying to go around the outside of Gonzaga into the parabolic. Alboreto Gonzaga will have the inside. It's going to have to be a ring of death around the outside for Sawyer Reitner, and he's nearly in the gravel there. That was one risk too far from the man who's gained 12 positions so far in this race. Wants to gain a lucky 13. But unfortunately for him, Gonzaga, he will have to wait. But this time, Edwards goes to the outside, and that's exactly where Reitner wants him to be. He will get the tow into the Redifilio. Can Reitner get late enough on the brakes and make the corner? Yes, he can. Ooh. So Gonzaga has gone from basically fighting for P2 down to P5. Here's Reitner, dips a wheel in the gravel.
Yeah, this is heating up here now. They're starting to get serious.
Yeah, Vitorino only less than 2/10 ahead of Bjorklund here. Bjorklund is absolutely flying again. We saw him struggling in the middle stint. Here he goes. He's going up the inside into Della Roggia, and Vitorino's got no choice but to let him through there. Kim-Andre Bjorklund takes the lead at the feature then, with 4 more laps to go at the end of this one then. And Simon Edwards now has got the 2 leaders in his sights here. He's played it smart. Who has got the tyres left to challenge for victory here? I think Edwards might well be looking for a move on Vitorino here, and that's crucial to keep Vitorino arm's length. 16 points behind him, remember, in the championship. Can't afford to lose ground in this feature, but Vitorino is eager to get back into the lead around the outside of Ascari. Bjorklund is going to have to try and close the door here, and close it he does. Now Vitorino, with that backfiring, has got Edwards all over the back of him, Jim.
Yeah, and you know, Simon's playing it cool back there. He was just kind of waiting, I think, and then he was going to slide on in here once that little battle happened, and that's exactly what he's going to do, sending it right on down in here, smooth.
There we go, into your least favourite corner, but I think Simon Edwards might have a different opinion of it there as he picks off his championship rival Bruno Vitorino. Reitner will be next in the queue to battle, but Edwards is already lining up Kim-Andre Bjorklund for the lead here. Vitorino getting a tow as well. That will keep Reitner behind then, so it's who can tow who? 2 rows going side by side into the first corner. Will it be Edwards or Bjorklund that gets, lock up from Bjorklund, and he goes into the side of Simon Edwards, but Edwards is through. It's too late. Edwards back into the lead.
I think Vitorino's going to get Bjorklund here, maybe.
Oh, but Vitorino's around the outside, though, and he's got Reitner alongside him, too, that he's got to worry about here. But Reitner held up a little bit there by Bjorklund then, so they stay in formation. Edwards, Bjorklund, Vitorino, Reitner.
Bjorklund did a good job there staying in second, because I thought he lost as Simon drops a wheel off there. I thought Bjorklund was going to lose a little pace there because of bumping with Simon, but he managed to keep his foot in it.
Yeah, it is all about momentum here at Monza, isn't it, funnily enough?
Sure, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the case at many circuits, but Monza especially so, given how high speed it is. As here we go, it's another slipstreaming battle about to intensify. Bjorklund has got the run up the inside towards Ascari, and Vitorino desperately wants to follow through, but there's not going to be enough space for 3 cars to just about can get through. Vitorino, how did he save that? I think there must have been a tap from Reitner there.
Was it?
Well, certainly drifty moment for Vitorino that we're on board with, as here we ride on board.
I jumped back real quick.
Reitner was up the inside. He did touch him there.
Did. Wow, yeah, that was that was entertaining. Yeah.
And Oh, they're still swapping positions,
they are.
and look at them side by side as we go back to live coverage on the exit of the Parabolica. But that has allowed our two leaders to break away. So that's moment between Reitman and Gonzaga absolutely critical here. Reitman has given back the position and then immediately retaken it, and this is allowing Vitorino to get involved as well. He goes up the inside of Gonzaga. He's going to try and go for the 2-for-1 move on Solly Reitman for the podium here, and I think he has actually pulled that one off. Impressive stuff from the Brazilian.
Wow. Yeah, it's
nothing to add to that.
No, I mean it's every lap. I mean these guys are, it's well, apparently Mike Buson just had an incident.
Yeah, Frydenland and Bird still finding a way for P8 lower down as Steve Webb is picked up by Mellis. Right into the outside, holds up Gonzaga even more, and Woodward is getting involved in this battle as well. Look, Robert Woodward almost alongside Vitorino into Lesmo 1, wisely backs out, but Reitman holds on to P3. He's gained 14 positions, incredibly, in this race. Edwards, by the way, has fallen back behind Bjorklund, and he's positioning himself again as Reitman dips the wheel into the gravel at Lesmo 2. It's so easy to understeer off there, and Gonzaga immediately nips back through. So they've given up on fighting for the lead. They are all just fighting for third now, those four.
Well, it would not surprise me at all to see Simon not pass Bjorklund on this lap. But he looks like he is going to stick it out there. We'll see. But because, he wants to be behind him, I think, coming around on that final lap so he can slipstream him,
Yeah, it is all a matter of timing then. It's a classic Monza slipstreamer as we see then Bjorklund trying to make Edwards go the long way around through the final corner. And we start the penultimate lap, and Bjorklund pulls as far to the inside as he can to get the shorter line to break the toe. And you can see Gonzaga has got the train of Reitman and Vitorino and Woodward all over the back of him here. You can see here Woodward is just loving this. He can just spectate essentially these SR10s dueling away like rats in a sack in front of him. And he's got the best seat in the house. Here we go. Up the inside comes Reitman into P3. That was late on the brakes into Redifilio there. More confident in Gonzaga, who dips a wheel in the gravel. Vitorino now is sizing him up on the outside at Curva Grande.
Man, what battles we're having here. This it's swapping every lap. But again, Simon did not pass Bjorklund like I kind of figured. And now as they come around, and they're going to take the white flag here when they get around. So this is I think what Simon was waiting for. He wanted to get that last lap move and then try to hold it.
Yeah, I wonder if Bjorklund, though, is starting to pull away from Edwards. He's anticipating what Edwards is going to try and do, and he's going to try and break the toe before he can then. So it could be very, very close as we are about to start the final lap of the race. Reitman still keeping Gonzaga and Vitorino at bay behind him, and Robert Woodward as well has just been incredibly clean in this race and has maximized his run in the top SR8. Mike Buson still another 3 seconds in the rearview mirror there as you see Bjorklund again tries to break the toe from Edwards, who's very content to stay in second position, but now Bjorklund rejoins the racing line, goes into the Parabolica for the penultimate time as they're about to start the final lap, and now Edwards is lining him up here as they're about to start the final lap. Then he is right in the toe, right in the wheel tracks of the Norwegian in front of him here, and Simon Edwards then second in race one. Can he go one better in the feature here as you see on board with Bjorklund? Which way is Edwards going to go? He's going to pull to the outside here, but he's not far enough alongside to pull off the move into the Redifilio now, so surely it's got to be the run through Curva Grande into Del Roggio that he's going to try again.
Oh, yeah, I think he's exactly where he wants to be. And to be honest with you, I think he backed off that last lap a little bit to cool his tires down a little bit and get them all rested up and ready to go.
Oh, but Bjorklund could defend this. He's got a little bit too much ground here, and he's very confident on the brakes too, so Simon Edwards finds the way through, absolutely blocked. Reitman has pulled away a bit from Gonzaga in the fight for third, so it's all about who's going to win this one then. Kim-Andre Bjorklund, who's won a couple of feature races, or Simon Edwards, who is so used to winning them so regularly, but the competition is hotting up this season, not least from the Norwegian in front of him here. So Bjorklund then just another sector to go here as they're about to go into into Ascari, and then it's just a run into Parabolica and out of Parabolica to go. Then has Bjorklund done enough here, or has Simon Edwards got one last sting in the tail to steal the lead, absolutely swinging it out?
He's kind of far back. I'm not
Ascari.
gonna lie. You're right about that. But here he comes. He's closing it up.
He's gaining all the time. He takes to the outside at
early,
Parabolica,
though.
And Bjorklund sees this one
gonna
coming
come back
again,
under him?
defending well. This could be a run to the line, you know. It's going to be very, very tense. It's going to be a dead heat between them potentially. Is Edwards a little bit too far back? Can he steal it? It's a neck and neck over the line, and it is Bjorklund that holds on by 23 thousandths of a second. It could not have been much closer than that. And a fabulous defensive drive from Kim Andre Bjorklund, but Edwards pushed him all the way home, and then Reitnen. Oh, what a recovery from him from the back of the grid to third. Take a bow, Sauli Reitnen, as a Gonzaga's fourth, Vitorino's fifth. Woodward leads home the SR8s, and look at this. Stefan Mellis recovers to the top 10 despite a trip through the gravel to beat Luke Crowley, who was got a little bit too close for comfort in race one. Not the case here, and look at that. Edwards and Bjorklund absolutely celebrating that one. They put on a spectacular show, and I think Bjorklund has destroyed the engine already.
No, he's torching him up here. He's going through that.
Yeah, didn't realize it was a Formula Drift event all of a sudden.
I know, right? That was pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, I think
wow, all right.
in a lot of ways impressive. So
Bjorklund. Look, that's a great run, man. Simon Edwards is no joke. He's arguably one of the most decorated guys in the history of radicals on iRacing, and for Bjorklund to flat out beat him right there, that's high quality driving right there. That's taking it to the next level. So
it's not the first time he's done this in the feature. Didn't he do it all? As we see Colin Wynn parting company from his front bumper, but I think Bjorklund did it at Portimao as well.
He did, he's really truly developing into quite the driver in these SR battles.
Indeed. So confirmation of the final results there. Kim Andre Bjorklund, I got it wrong. It wasn't 23 thousandths. It was actually 24 thousandths, although that's only a thousandth further apart. It may as well. I think so near yet so far for Simon Edwards as far as he's concerned. But there we go. Fantastic battle. Bjorklund, a well-deserved winner in the sprint. He went from 16th to 5th. Now he goes from 5th to 1st. So another impressive climb there. And then Sauli Reitnen rounds out the podium, going from the very back of the grid to 3rd. Another impressive climber after a disappointing sprint for him. Gonzaga, again beaten to the podium in the closing stages in both races, but P4, he will be mixed, probably somewhat satisfied with that. Bruno Vitorino ends the day in 5th. Then it is Robert Woodward who goes from pole to 6th. Damage limitation for the Racing Pointless driver, leading home RSR8s with Mike Bousson in 7th. Jamie Bird incurring heavy damage in contact with Paul LeMay, but still comes home in 8th ahead of Lars Erik Freidenlund. And Stefan Mellis rounds out the top 10, holding off a train of SR8s and one SR10, that of Luke Crowley, the one he didn't want to be anywhere near him after race 1, I think it's fair to say. But they kept it clean on this occasion, at least from what we saw. Steve Webb is P12. A good day for him, actually. Graham Matthew P13 just behind him, and David Rolliston is 14 to round out our SR8 finishes. Sadly, Heinz Braun, difficult race for him, being spun out yet again, and Phil Glover making that mistake that cost him a decent finish. He ends up in 16th position. Sadly, Colin Wynn as well does not finish. He does finish, but he's the last finisher for the Moving Matters team. And then it is Paul LeMay, our one retirement, 8 laps down after the collision with Phil Glover. I think it was a very incident-filled feature race for Paul LeMay. It's fair to say.
Indeed. Yeah, that was not his best showing. But let's drag.
Still got the sprint win.
Exactly. Let's drag Paul in. He actually finished on both ends of the spectrum tonight, top and bottom.
Yeah, we go. So don't say that too loud. People might get the wrong impression if they hear it out of context. So then, joining us now,
of the standings. Is that better?
I know.
Okay. There you go.
So Paul LeMay joins us now. Paul, obviously, mixed emotions because a fantastic sprint race. You qualify on the front row. You beat Simon Edwards quite convincingly in the end, despite him closing in the closing stages. And then the feature race, really, it was a lot of drama pretty much every lap. You never really got a lap to yourself in clear air, did you? There was a collision with Jamie Bird, where Jamie went sent off into the gravel, and then the one that ended your race was the collision with Phil Glover, unfortunately, with obviously Phil making a bit of a mistake that sent you off into the gravel, and ultimately you seemed kind of stunned because you stayed on the exit for a couple of laps before ultimately retiring, which was a bit a funny sight to us, Paul. A bit of a sad sight, it must be said as well.
Yeah, good evening, guys. I thought I'd just watch a bit of racing, and then I thought I'd better go off the edge of the track in case anything happened. But race one was pretty good. Simon, the SR10 was still a couple of tenths down the straights quicker, and there's I think 1 or 2 corners where the 8 was a bit better. But I knew I just had to try and manage the gap, and I knew I didn't have to push, right on the edge. But it was enough for race one. And in race two, I think. Hines, I didn't realise when I hit the back of Hines in the Ascari, it's because he went over the sausage curbs and he backed out the throttle. I had nowhere to go, so that's why the front of the car came off. And then with Jamie, I think in the first Lesmo, I was completely alongside, and he must have known I was there because he was giving me room. And I came off the curb a little bit, and he's turned it a little bit more, and we've kind of converged. So I apologise for my part in that, but I was completely alongside.
Oh, I think that's the bumper losing company that we're seeing on screen at the moment.
It's just about to come off. And then poor old Phil lost it and just clipped me coming back onto the track. So it's just one of those things. But I enjoyed race one, and I was just hoping to just get a good finish. But it's one of those things, and we move on.
I tell you, it was hard to find a clip of you highlight from the second race to show while we were talking to you, because in the second race it was pretty much all low lights for you on this one, man. This was a tough one. But that first race you dominated. I mean, you pulled it out there, and they were battling behind you a little bit, and you took advantage of it. That was a good run.
Into turn one at the chicane off the start line, I knew I had to try and get in front of Simon there. And fortunately, I managed to do that and hold on until I got to the second chicane, and then the 2 Lesmos. And I knew if I could get a little bit of gap, I might just hold on to Ascari. But so it kind of worked out. But I knew I had to get past him in turn one. I was really worried because the 10 can sit in the 8 can sit in the draft, but it can't really overtake the 10 unless the person in the 10 makes a mistake coming off a corner. So I really just tried to maximise and do what I could to stay ahead.
So, Paul, next up, Watkins Glen on the calendar. Do you think you can get a feature win there to add to the sprint that you've taken so far this season?
Well, it's always tough against these guys, but I shall be giving it my best shot, and hopefully we can find a good balance between the 2 cars again. It was fairly close here, so one of the places we didn't really expect it to be that close. So, hopefully we can do the same at Watkins, and everybody can have a good race.
And is anybody you want to shout out before we let you go?
Probably Jamie, really, because as I say, I come off the curb a little bit, but I was fully alongside, and he sort of turned in a smidge. He knew I was there, but I think it was more of a racing incident. But my apologies for that. That my part in that. So shout out to Jamie.
Well, that's very sporting and magnanimous of you, Paul, to at least accept your half of the blame for that one. I'm sure Jamie will appreciate. In fact, Jim is going to show the incident again, which I'm sure neither of you wants to see right now. But nonetheless, congratulations on the sprint win, and thanks for talking to us, Paul.
All right, cheers, guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, shall we drag in Mr. Simon Edwards then? Second in both races then, so he'll be slightly frustrated, I imagine. So we're joined now by Simon Edwards, second in the sprint to Paul LeMay, and then second again in a very, very exciting feature behind Kim-Andre Bjorklund. Simon, this must be becoming a bit of an annoying habit for you, isn't it, P2s, when you're used to P1 so regularly this season?
Yeah, but that was so fun. You never really know how those first laps are going to go in the races. So I was trying to just keep myself in the races. And I got obviously caught up behind Hines, the I don't know, dive bomb master, and then just had to avoid them. And another lap, and I would have been well into Paul's toe in the sprint. So for me, that was quite exciting to try and hot lap back towards him.
I would have still beaten you.
Yeah, you'd probably beat me like Jamie.
No, I don't think so.
Jamie beat. I don't know who was behind me. Was it George?
Yeah,
it was
to the line. So you never know. So that was good fun. And it sort of relaxed me. I could ignore everybody behind me and just race the track. And then the second race, it was just those first laps. I don't know how I avoided all the bits and bobs, even off the line. I was on the grass, avoiding something.
I think we saw about 3 bumpers flying before anybody reached the first corner to the back of the grid.
Yeah, and then Paul had an incident with somebody through a Scari, and I somehow squeezed between Paul and somebody else.
It was Hines, I think it was Hines.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah, okay. No, because he got in the lead. It can't have been him.
Hines was in front of me, and he basically slowed right down in the middle of Scari, and I had nowhere to go.
Ah, right. Was it Hines? Oh.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
because it was Gonzaga and Bjorklund that had made a break for it in the early laps.
Yeah,
but I thought somebody else was in front of.
And Vitorino and Gonzaga, sorry.
Oh, it's Bruno, wasn't it? Yeah, sorry, no, not Hines. It was Bruno. I'm getting confused.
that happens.
Too many black cars. They're just jet black, aren't they?
Yeah, I haven't got trading paint on.
So. That's what it
is.
Heinz
is black and red.
Heinz is black and red. Has nothing to do with age. It's the black cars that's confusing him.
Yeah, at least they're not Red Bull liveried. Then they're deadly, aren't they?
It was interesting, Simon.
The worst. That's so true.
Because going into that middle phase of the race, you and Sawley were swapping positions constantly while everybody's working together to catch Bruno, essentially, because George and Kim Andre were also swapping positions ahead of you. And then George fell off the back of that battle, and that was when you started to pounce and get involved then. So it was a very, very tactical race. And then even in those final few laps, I think Jim was saying in commentary, oh, Simon is holding off here and he's going to go through on the final lap. And Kim had just enough in hand, defended brilliantly, it must be said, to keep you at bay. Although frustrating from your point of view.
Was that your plan, Simon, though? Like instead of passing him on the second to last lap, did you decide just to stay back? That way you could make a run on the last lap at him?
Can I say it was brilliant tactics, or can I say Kim had done a low downforce special more than I would ever even dare try.
Well, now when you're calling somebody set up a low downforce special, what did he take the wing off? What
yeah, he had. I've never been below. I think even when I went down to 3, it was big risk, and he was down at 2 rear wing. And no dive planes at the front. So I don't know how he made it dynamic enough through the middle section. I could see that he'd taken downforce off, because I could catch him in the places where especially Ascari. So my plan was last lap, and because I knew I could get through Ascari quicker, is leave myself a bit of space into Ascari so that I could accelerate at him out of Ascari, and then try and make him go deep into Parabolica. But he's too damn good. So even though I had the side draft on him, his top speed I just couldn't. I just ran out of acceleration. So, but it was brilliant by him. And and Sully, thank you, Sully. We were working together. I just tested him first because he went to pass me. I thought, we're just going to lose time, so I just backed off and let him back in. And then I thought, is he going to let me do the same next lap? And as soon as he did that, I thought, this is on. We're after him. So so he was certainly faster than them, and I was faster than them. So between us, we were also gaining a couple of tenths by doing that.
Yeah, you do have to kind of have a partner around here like that, don't you? It's to really make up the gap.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Without Sully doing that. We wouldn't have caught them, if we'd had to fight at all, really.
So looking forward, obviously, I think you're 20 points ahead now, at least in the championship, because you gained more ground on Bruno and Sawley in both races with your 2 P2s. 3 rounds to go. Watkins Glen next up. How excited are you for that one?
Watkins it's another one like this that might be difficult to balance between the cars. This is the best I could do. We got an SR8 win out the first sprint, so that was pretty good. And I know Robert was sticking with us, wasn't he, when we were pulling up with Sully. So yeah, and I gave my best setup out on the 8, the lowest downforce I could think of, and the greatest straight line speed. But it was always some sort of 2 kilometers an hour right at the end of the straight, where the 10, even with 5% less power, which we gave it, which is the maximum you can take off, is just took it at the end. So this is why I was reasonably confident. I know Paul will agree or not agree that I might have been able to get it.
I think you probably would, but I mean, I wasn't going flat out on the last lap. So
No.
yeah.
No, I'm only
telling
saying if I could have got there,
Yeah.
if I could have got in the same position I got in with Kim, it would probably be on.
Oh,
yeah.
crikey. Yeah.
But yeah. But the ifs and buts. Yeah.
I
don't know
love
what-
this is the way you talk when you just pipped to the win in 2 races in a row. That you become absolutely sort of, I could have done this and I could have done that.
I've got to thank Simon anyway, because the setup he had on the 8 was really good. And it really inspired confidence. So I've got to thank him for putting a good setup on the car.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know what else we could have done to balance it. That's why I'm hesitating.
Well, Paul had a lot of confidence that you'd done a great job. He messaged me earlier in the week, like he does, to kind of tell me what you guys are doing to the cars. And I mean, he said props to you. That you had really found a good setup, which I know you like driving the SR8. So you find yourself to be just as fast or faster in that car a lot of times. So it seemed good in the first race. If you look down the board, it was a mixed bag. It looked very, very balanced. Not so much in the second race, but
well, they all crashed into each other in the second
that's true.
race, apart from
All
Robert.
the SR8 guys decided to run into each other. I don't know if that was part of the setup or not, but they had magnets that drew them together there in the second race.
Oh dear.
Well, I don't think Simon would know about that because it all happened behind him.
That's true.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I think that
Anyway,
was,
Simon.
Yeah.
Go on. Before we let you go, because this interview's gone on a while and we've got Kim Andre still waiting.
Yes.
Anybody you'd like to shout out, my good buddy?
I'm going to give a shout out to Paul for helping me earlier in the week, and Mike joined us as well, so that we had a second person who doesn't normally run low downforce to come in and validate the setup that it was drivable. So that would go. Thanks to those guys.
Cheers.
And thanks to George, obviously, to keeping the league up and running.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
good
Love
stuff.
to hear that. And congrats on the 2 P2s. Best of luck for the final 3 rounds of the championship, Mr. Simon Edwards.
Thank you.
All right.
So let's drag in our feature winner, Kim Andre Bjorklund, who certainly had a lot of adventures today. Let's hear what he has to say. So Kim Andre Bjorklund leaves us now. Kim, congratulations. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, awesome. So obviously sprint race, first lap, not ideal. We didn't see quite how it happened, but we saw you disappearing into the gravel at Lesmo 1, falling to 16th, and then fighting your way back up to 5th. Even more impressively, in the feature, you go from 5th and you slowly but surely work your way into contention for the lead, and you just hold off Simon Edwards in a thrilling battle in the final few laps then. So all in all, an amazing recovery today. You've got to feel satisfied with that one.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I'm not sure what happened in race 1. I might have just turned in a bit too hard on trail braking, and it just went away from me. But really fun to slice through the field again. Race
yeah, you,
2,
go on.
I got a decent start, and from there it was okay. Almost put it in the wall like one time, but it's Monza for you.
How many times did you and Gonzaga swap positions? Because it felt like there was a kind of pact between you two as you worked together to catch Bruno for the lead.
I'm not sure, 4 or 5 times.
I didn't expect an answer, don't worry.
I knew it was stupid to try to pass him anywhere else than on the start straight, because there you can pass without anyone losing any too much time. But he was a bit too slow some laps. He made too many mistakes, so we didn't catch as much as I wanted when he was ahead.
And talk us through those final couple of laps, because when you finally got past Vitorino for the lead, all of a sudden you got Simon Edwards has caught up to the back of you. How tense was that? Did you think Simon was going to be close enough to attack on that final lap, or did you know if you drove defensively enough, blocked off the ideal lines and defended the inside, that he just wouldn't find a way through?
I wasn't sure. Simon is really fast, and he drives fair and hard, and I really love fighting with him. But I knew I had more straight line speed than him from the earlier laps, so I tried to just not let him get the easy pass on me and just see what happened.
Well, absolutely. What happened was you won by 24 thousandths of a second as they crossed the lines. You couldn't have timed it more tightly than that. So, yeah, an impressive win, and not the first time that you've beaten Simon Edwards to a feature race victory. So it must be a very, very proud record for you in Sim Racing Norway. You seem to get stronger every round we see you, Kim Andre.
I try my best.
Absolutely. You looking forward to Watkins Glen next time out?
Yeah, Watkins is fun. I love sending it through that chicane.
Oh, well, we look forward to seeing that. The couple of chicanes at Monza, you were certainly sending it, especially in the sprint, but also a couple of times in the feature too. So, yeah. Anybody you want to shout out before you let you go, Kim?
Of course, my teammates and Simon and the other drivers. It's so fun fighting with them, and I'm just driving with a smile on my face every Thursday. And you guys for bringing this to the world.
Oh, you certainly put a smile on our faces. So well done to the man who finished 5th in the sprint, and more importantly, winner of the feature race for I think the 2nd or 3rd time this season, because Imola and Portimao were the other 2 times you won. Both times I was commentating, funnily enough. So I seem to be a bit of a good luck charm.
You are a good luck charm
Kim.
for him.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think I won last week too.
Oh, okay. Well, even without me, you seem to keep stacking up the wins. There we go. That shows you how often I watch this championship when I'm not commentating. But there we go. Kim has found me out. But anyway, well done, Kim. And thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
We've just got enough time to squeeze in Mr. Phil Glover. So Phil Glover joins us now. So Phil, obviously, a difficult end to race 2 there with the collision with Paul. We heard Paul's perspective on it. He seemed like things were going a bit wrong before that point for poor Paul, but a big shame for you, because you pulled off a really good move into Lesmo number 2. I forget who it was on. Was it on Lars Erik Frydenlund? It was somebody just to get into 9th or 8th position, wasn't it? And that really stood out as a great moment, and it's a shame that the race ended the way it did, I guess.
Yeah, I hate to be responsible for tapping somebody or ruining the race. So, yeah, he'd already got a bit of damage. I think Paul, he'd lost his front bonnet, but
yeah, more than a bit, I think.
Yeah.
He was still doing pretty well though in terms of his speed. So, yeah. I must have just rejoined, I think, maybe, and just not quite caught sight of him and tapped him, but it was enough to ruin his day, I'm afraid.
In your defense, it did happen very, very quickly. You tapped the gravel, and then within about half a second, you tapped the back of him as well. So it's one of those things that can happen to anybody if they're not careful. And yeah, certainly. But as I said, aside from that, it's been a pretty strong day. Like we said, 11th in the first race before we got rudely cut off by the start of race 2 in a little pre-interview there. But yeah, I think you were on for a top 10 in that second race before that happened.
Yeah, I think, where did I start? I was pretty much last, maybe. I was the 17th or something, so I made 5 or 6 places up, didn't I, in that first race? So, to be fair, a lot of people just threw it off the road. It wasn't all bad.
Yeah, well, others lose their head. You got to keep yours though, Phil, and you become very decent at that.
Yeah, yeah, it was quite hairy.
Apart from what we're seeing on screen at the moment, Jim is quite rudely replaying the accident with Paul LeMay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey ho. He's forgiven me, so that's all that matters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's all racing.
How was the racing for you tonight, Jim?
Good. I mean, yeah, no, it was good. We, I really, I would say it even surprised me. I mean, there was a lot of good action. There was a lot of wildness too, but Monza brings that anyway. So yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. Looking forward to next week, Phil. Where will we be at next week?
I've said it 8 times in the last few interviews. It's Watkins Glen, Jim.
No, it's a thing we do with Phil. You weren't supposed to tell him.
All right. Okay.
Did you know, Phil?
Does it begin
did you
with
know?
W?
Yeah.
Does it begin with W?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I thought Jim had genuinely forgotten.
No. It's a thing we do. James has been doing that for years with him now. He always asks Phil where we're going, and most of the time Phil doesn't know. And then last week he surprised me, and he's like, "Yeah, we're going to be at at Monza," and he threw it out there because he knew. But yeah, no, it's just a thing with that's kind of Phil's trademark now. That and the Castro livery, both of them go hand in hand. But always good to chat with you, Phil. I wish we'd had a little more time in that in the mid race there, but yeah, as long as you had fun tonight, that's what matters.
I did actually. I mean, I had 0 time to practice this week because there's been a lot going on, so I wasn't sure how I would get on. And obviously, Simon very kindly gives me his setups, but I had not any time to kind of really try and get used to that other than about 10 minutes in practice. So,
well, we all know how low downforce Simon's setups are. Well, apparently, Kim Andre Bjorklund apparently was running a lower downforce setup than Simon, if you can believe that.
Yeah, and he was running standard gears as well. So with that low downforce, he was able to run the taller gear set, which obviously helped him.
Yeah, he was fast. So that's impressive. If you can drive a setup looser than Simon can, that's pretty impressive. So, all right, buddy. Well, we'll see you next week at Watkins Glen in New York State in the United States. Enjoy your trip over.
Anybody you want to shout out before we let you go, Phil? Oh, sorry.
To the pilot who's going to fly us across.
That's right.
Well, I mean, you do want to make sure you get a decent pilot or you won't get very far. As you've discovered, it's the same with the cars as the planes, isn't it? They call them drivers in these vehicles.
Yeah. All right. See you later, guys.
Yep. See you next week.
Take care, Phil.
I love Phil, man. He's the best.
Yeah, awesome. And great we get to talk to him every week.
Oh, I love it. He's so good. There
we go then. But congrats again to our 2 winners, Paul LeMay and Kim Andre Bjorklund by 24 thousandths of a second over Simon Edwards then. But yeah, a chaotic evening at Monza and 2 very, very exciting races, really.
Yeah.
Very difficult to predict who was going to come out on top, especially in race 2, where I think there were like 5 different leaders across the course of that one. But yeah. Yeah, of course, Watkins Glen coming out next week. I'm looking forward to that one, Jim. I should actually be available today because the other thing that I was commentating on Thursdays has ended. So I am technically going to be available.
Yeah, no,
unless
I
something
think
else happens.
If you look at the remaining part of the schedule here real quick, we got some good stuff coming up here. It's going to be Watkins Glen's going to be a blast. Le Mans is going to be interesting. I'm not sure, that could.
You thought slipstreaming was bad here, then Le Mans is
well, that's the thing. I've seen some good radical races at Le Mans, and I've seen some rough ones. We'll see. But then Road Atlanta to close it out. I mean, that's a fantastic circuit. And I think it's a good circuit for these cars. It's short. It's got a lot of elevation changes, which will affect these cars quite a bit. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, it's been a long, hard 12 weeks for these drivers. Just a few more to go. But anyway, that's your lot from Monza. I've been Edward Hunter. He's been Jim Cunningham. Thank you very much for watching. And you never know, we might see you on track one day soon in the Radical Race Series. Thank you again for watching and take care. Good night.